Sulani. I love this world. Do you know who else I love? This family that I made for my Savefile who are going to live here. We have a grandma and she has 3 kids, 2 of which are teen twins, number 1 and number 2. They have an older sister who's also going to live here with her partner, and together they have a little baby. If that went too fast for you, don't worry, this is not going to be on the quiz. Also, now we're gonna build them a house on this lot here. By the way, did you see how they all looked like they were having the worst day of their life just then when I introduced them? What happened? I guess it's because I just loaded in. I mean, I would never do terrible things to my Sims. Anyway, focusing back on the build, this was a difficult one. There were genuinely times during the process of this where I just felt like giving up. And I don't just mean bulldozing it and starting over, just completely scrapping the entire thing. And you're gonna see here, I left some footage in from when the house looked a little interesting because I was trying to do things but they were just not working out. But eventually I somehow got there. I don't even know how, but luckily it worked out eventually. Like, look, here I was trying to do a cool and different thing with the roof, but just no. And then I also had this vision of making this like so many different colors, because in my mind I was like, yeah, it's like we have this family living here and they're all super different, so what if it's like represented on the outside? But just no. In conclusion, it was no's all around at the beginning, especially also to this shape that I have right now. You're gonna see me delete one of those bump outs entirely in just a bit, because no! This clip here kind of marks the start of where it starts to get a little better. I think what I did is I started looking more closely at the other houses surrounding this area to mimic the style more closely. Because before I was like, ooh, what if I'm inspired by it, but I like still do my own thing, but my own thing was not working out. Sulani is a Polynesian-inspired world, and I am a big fan. I mean, I think we can all agree that it's so pretty here. And I have quite a cool idea, I think, for what I want to do here with my save file. Because in the game itself, I don't think there really is that much lore. Like, I think it just kind of exists unless I missed something. But you see, there are 3 areas to this, and I have an idea for each one of them. So up to the north, I unfortunately don't know what any of the areas are called, but the one up to the north, I want to have this kind of like untouched nature. That's kind of what they were going for originally as well, I think. Down here in the bottom right, this area I want to be a village of some sort, which I also think is what they kind of were going for. So here I want to build a bunch of these more traditional houses. Well, as best as I can as somebody who's not from there and doesn't know that much about it. And then to the left there is another area, and that one I want to make like a touristy area. So there I want to build like a bunch of fancy modern mansions and stuff. And I think that's gonna be cool because we have a lot of room for creating like conflict between the different characters we can make. Because I imagine a lot of the locals don't really like the fact that there are so many tourists around. Because not all of them are always very respectful, you know. Also, I was thinking, in the area to the north, which is sort of like the untouched nature and everything, you can sort of go on the side quest with your Sims, right? And clean it up, because there's a bunch of trash that spawns there, and you can be like I forgot what they're called. Basically somebody who cleans up and stuff, right? And so what if the reason that there is all of this trash there is because of the tourists? Because they throw all of their trash into the sea in the area where they are, and then because of ocean currents, it kind of like floats over there. I think that's a cool idea because I don't think there is an official explanation as to how all of that gets there. It just kind of gets there, which I think is fair too. But now we have lore. Also, a side note on the tourists, when I say tourists, I suppose I don't mean just tourists, like normal people who come to visit and have a look. I suppose I already made it clear, but I'm talking about like people who are super rich and who like build their mansions here and build their businesses here and kind of intrude on the space. So, yeah. But back to the build, as you can tell, I've ended up with a shape that is, I think, much better now. And so you're gonna see me move on to the interior now, which luckily I had a lot less problems with. My strategy here was to plan everything using the first items that I could get to just simply map out where everything should go, especially in this big room that we've ended up here. Those can be kind of intimidating. What you need to do when you have a big room like this is you do need to divide it into like separate spaces. So I made like a kitchen area and a living room area and a dining table area. And then I also ended up with this weird empty wall where I just put like a little reading nook. That's the cool thing about The Sims. When you're planning out a room in real life, you always have the problem of like, oh, if I put this here, will I actually use it? But in The Sims, you could just kind of be like, well, I'm gonna put a bookshelf and a seat here because this Sim, they like reading now. This bar that I placed in the kitchen doesn't match exactly, but it's good enough. I also gave them a little TV, and I remembered that these cool glass floors exist, so I had to use them for this thingy out here. I was just wondering what I was gonna do with this place, and then I was like, wait, what is that? Is that dirt on my screen or something? And I zoomed in and it was the baby. How did the baby get here? What happened? I mean, that must have been during when I play tested that somebody brought them over here, but why? No clue what happened there. I have to admit, I haven't played that much with infants yet. So is it like a common occurrence that Sims pick them up and just kind of carry them to the other side of the world to the most random places? I really wouldn't put it past the Sims, I really wouldn't. Anyway, with that, the main room is pretty much finished and I moved on to the side room here, which is going to be a bedroom for not only the baby but also the parents. For this room, I tried to do the same color scheme as the mom, as in the mom of the baby and like the oldest sister of the teen twins and then the daughter of the okay, this is this is complicated, but I really like to sort of color code my Sims, and she has like a purple and cyan theme going on, and I found the perfect bed to match that. I think her name was Atamai, if I remember correctly, and if that's how you even pronounce it. I kind of just googled like most popular Polynesian names for them. That's honestly how I get a lot of names for my Sims. Just kind of Google most popular names, this country, or just in general. As a result, I've gotten like ads for baby stuff before because apparently Google is convinced because of that I'm having one, even though I'm just playing The Sims. I think a lot of you might be able to relate. Honestly, the Sims team might be able to relate as well, because it's happened to me before that I ran into randomized Sims that had the same names, even as the ones that I'm building this house for. So that made me feel a lot better that, you know, the names are actually real and the websites weren't lying to me. Which I guess is nothing I should be worrying about, but still, what if? Although, maybe I'm having too much faith in EA. Anyway, so we're decorating the upstairs now. This is gonna be the grandma's room. I already finished the bathroom up here just then, and then I moved on to do the twins' room. And I kind of give them like separate areas in each corner of the room. One of them has like a cyan theme, and they really like rocket science, so I kind of tried, you know, giving them a bunch of stuff like that. It's kind of difficult making a space for a Sim that's into rocket science because there isn't that much to give them. And you also don't want to put in like the entire rocket ship into their house. But I think I managed to get the point across quite well regardless. The other twin has a green theme and he's into sports as well as gardening, or so I thought. So, you know, with that one it was a lot easier. I could just place some posters and spam some plants around as well as pots and stuff. And everything was going quite well until I actually decided to double check their interests. And as it turns out, I accidentally mixed them up. The other one likes gardening and the green one doesn't. Well, but once again, this is The Sims. In real life, this would be really embarrassing if you like made their room for them and mixed them up. But here we can just decide, you know, let's just change things up. So in the final version of my save file, the green one will in fact like plants. Because, I mean, it's not too late to go back now, but also I'm lazy. That makes way more sense anyway, like that the green one likes plants. Let's swiftly forget about that one, shall we? Because I've now moved on to do the finishing touches, which basically meant looking if there are any awkward open spots and trying to fill them up with something. So in between these two chairs here, I decided to place a little table. There also weren't any stairs yet up to the building, so I also took care of that because you kind of need that in a way. I also placed some on the side here so somebody can hopefully come and retrieve that baby. They also got a woodworking table. I also just chucked a plant in this corner over here. I don't know, it looked kind of empty, although... Is that staying? No, I think I moved that over to the other side of the room later on. Well, I suppose we're gonna see. And remember when I had the idea to make the place super colorful in the beginning? Well, I still wanted to have at least some colorful aspects. Like, I didn't want the entire thing to be just brown, and I ended up going for yellow and just having the entire upstairs area be yellow. Although looking at it now, I also really like the blue. I don't know, I'm conflicted. I was thinking maybe I could make every house in this area because I think they have 5 or 6 lots or something. And what if every house was a different color? But then I was also thinking, what if we made them the same color and they all match? Why is this so difficult? Here I just placed some palm trees and some plants to make the lot look complete. For this I just had to look at what's in the environment and then use the exact same plants. And those little flowers that I used ended up being white and red in the environment, so I just did the same thing. Which now makes me think, what if I made the house red? I don't think I really tried that, but that could be cool as well. Well, anyway, with that, we are done. Except we are not done yet because there's still going to be bonus items. If you're new and very confused, let me explain. Basically, I want my save file to have a lot of cross-pack compatibility while also being accessible for everyone. So at first, I only used the packs that are necessary for my build. In this case, that was Island Living. And then later on, I come back with all my packs activated and I place in a bunch of items that will fit the place from other packs. And then I also go ahead and test if that works by disabling all of my packs again and loading back into the lot and seeing if the game doesn't replace them in a weird way or something. Which I did do here as well, and it worked quite well. So that way, if you have certain packs, you get certain extra items. Meanwhile, if you don't have any of those packs, the lot also doesn't feel incomplete or anything like that for you. But with that, we are done. Except, no, we're not done. Because I came back a while later and I didn't like it anymore. Well, don't worry, I didn't decide to change that much stuff. But I didn't like how there was some red in the columns. And instead, I decided to change that to a more neutral swatch. I also changed the solar panels to be blue, and I also changed one of the floaties for some reason because I didn't like how that looked either anymore. I also made the discovery that sometimes one of these boats, like the one that I placed, spawns in front of this lot, and I didn't like how that looked with the other one, so I decided to move it over here. Maybe eventually I'll decide to remove it entirely because that's so annoying. But oh well, we'll see what I do. With that, here's the final look of the build. And looking at this clip, I forgot to tell you. By the way, all of these people are mermaids. Surprise! Yeah, all of them are mermaids except for that one girl's partner. But other than that, the entire family is. And I remember now, I had the idea, what if they all keep it a secret from him? And they all try their best not to let him see, but don't do the best job. But what if the guy himself was totally oblivious? And so he just keeps going like, well, that was weird. Anyway, I think it would be really fun to play with a family like that. I shall put this on the gallery for you if you want to download this, and I will call it the Sulani Family Home. And my name on the gallery is LadyLoea. I hope you can find it. Oh, and by the way, look, I also discovered that in the game by default there is a sim that looks super similar to my grandma. Anyway, with that, thank you for watching, and I'm going to be back next week where we are going to build using just the base game and dine out, and we are going to build, well, a diner. I hope to see you there. Bye!